drinking, aggressive behavior, fights happen.
Really, explain that to me. How does that work again?
You don't drink. How the hell would you know?
That's what I said. Explain that to me again.
I don't hang out in bars either.
Well, then how the hell would you know?
I see people being dragged out of bars.
Well, I'm up on stage as long as I finish the set. It's okay.
Are you behind the wire cage?
I've been behind one before.
Chicken wire, God's friend.
And how many bottles have flown towards you?
Oh, good Lord. That was not a good experience.
Chicken wire?
What kind of music do you usually have here?
Oh, we got both kinds. We got country and western.
Hello, Chicago. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Gotta drink to that.
Welcome to Alternate Reality.
Could have, but he's too old to fight.
I still take him.
I take Sam Elliott to fight anyway. He's fight dirty.
He's busy eating meat. You know, it's what's for dinner.
It's what's for dinner. and drinking Coors, the banquet of beer.
The real beer.
The meat is what's for dinner.
I've liked Sam Elliott the moment I first saw him years ago, and the fact he's still working is a good thing.
Sam Elliott was not first season, not second season, not even third season, but he was one of the IMF people on Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
It was one of his first jobs.
Yeah.
And you watch him in that, he is nothing like he is later.
No.
He is nothing like this.
Short hair, clean cut. He was a contract player back then, and he didn't. I mean, people didn't really notice. He did a film called Lifeguard with Catherine Ross, who he ended up marrying, and that's when people went, "Who's this guy? Hey, this guy's kind of interesting because he's got a gravelly voice, he's got a western look."
He's got none of that in the Mission Impossible.
No, he's clean cut.
I think he was just on for one season.
He's clean cut.
I think he did one season. He was in the opening credits, so he was a regular.
Yeah.
By the time you got to the last 3 seasons of Mission Impossible, you had a rotating cast of people.
Yeah.
Peter Lupus, Peter Graves, and Greg Morse. They were the only...
They're the regulars.
They were the regulars.
You guys are all
and then they
fill-ins.
spin new people in and out.
Who is this guy? He's a guy who was available because he's on the contract. He's on a Universal contract or a 20s contract, and we need to find him the things to do. Kind of like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford was a contract player. You see Harrison Ford in a lot of stuff before Harrison Ford became Harrison Ford.
Oh, Harrison Ford they did an episode of Kung Fu back in '71, I think.
Whoa.
Where he plays a cowboy everybody played a cowboy in that.
Yeah, he was in Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round.
Yeah,
which was a film that Channel 7 ran a lot.
No, that was the story behind Ford. He was getting ready to retire when he got pulled in for Star Wars, and then everything changed.
He's a carpenter.
Yeah, he's a carpenter, but he was
building houses.
He'd pretty much given up on his career, and he was making more money building houses, so he was going that direction. I could have used him here at Alternate Reality. I could have, but but at the time he was busy making movies and making millions and millions of dollars. But he could have been sitting here at this table.
He still has his tools.
He still has his tools,
yes.
And I have my tools too. Hey, folks, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to the Alternate Reality. We're coming to you from Alternate Reality, the best little comic book store in the south side of Chicago, located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, our all new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. We're being joined today by the one, the only, the inimitable Rod Flash. Hey, Rod.
Hello, America.
And
America. This is worldwide, baby.
Oh.
People in Swaziland are listening to this.
Swaziland?
Yes, Swaziland.
Is that Norway?
Close to.
Okay.
And also here today is Bo. So anyway, let's move on.
What? My Swaziland friends are going to drop the show. I got about 20 of them.
Okay, folks, we're doing news today. We've got as usual, we've got comic news.
Yes.
Media news.
Yes.
Wrestling news.
Yes.
Ooh, comic first. Action 1000. Action 1000 is rocketing its way.
April 18th.
Assuming it's not late.
Well, we get
which is what we're talking about. Is rocketing its way to you on April the 18th, so it'll be on the racks weeks before Free Comic Book Day.
Yes.
And the roster so far for the book is...
You've got the initial feature-length story by Dan Jurgens and whoever the current artist is. They're going to start it, and then you've got all these people who are joining the crowd for this thing.
Okay, well, Brian Michael Bendis and Jim Lee.
Which could be late.
Now, these are teams?
These are teams. They're working on individual stories. Yeah.
Okay, Marv Wolfman and Kurt Swan. Kurt has been dead for 15 years.
Kurt Swan has a story that's been sitting in the vaults that has never been seen.
Oh, really?
And Marv Wolfman's going to write the story.
Okay, great. I didn't know that. Richard Donner.
Yeah.
Who's just Richard Donner. I guess he's writing and drawing.
No, Richard Donner with Jeff Johns. And
okay.
Oliver Coipel's drawing it.
Richard Donner, Jeff Johns, and Oliver Coipel.
No longer exclusive actors anywhere.
Paul Dini and Jose Garcia Lopez, who never does any work.
Oh, no, he does the licensing stuff.
Well, licensing stuff.
You see his stuff if you go to a store, but yeah, he's on the Inside Comic Book for a while.
Tom King with Clayman and Jordy Belair.
He would be the colorist. She would be the colorist.
Brad Meltzer, really. Brad Meltzer. Brad Meltzer and John Cassaday and Laura Martin.
Coloring.
Louise Simonson with Jerry Ordway.
Damn.
Well, good for Jerry Ordway.
Well, Louise Simonson had a run on Superman for a while, and so did Ordway.
Yeah. Scott Snyder with Tom Sale.
Tim Sale.
Tim Sale. I'm sorry. Tim Sale. That's right. Scott Snyder and Tim Sale. That should be a nice story.
It should be a real nice story.
And an unpublished story from the one, the only, the creators of the man himself, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster.
There's another story they found in the vaults.
I was going to say, it must be an inventory story.
Well, probably, yeah. Those older stories are all inventory stories that have never been printed, and he probably said, we've got this story here, and we found it. What should we do with it? I know, Action 1000.
So, what's the word on the size and the cost and all that stuff?
No, you found that out, right?
I found out that the price of the book is $7.99.
Oh, it's a $7.99, really?
And also, Tim, you're going to love this. The red underwear is back.
Yes, I know. I'm aware of that. Yes. Probably just for that one issue.
Jim Lee, the Jim Lee Brian Bendis story is a story where they reintroduce the red underwear. It's a mixing of the classic costume and the current costume. So the gauntlets that he has right now, those will be on there, and it might stick.
Superman
I hope
gauntlets.
so. Yeah. I hope so.
Well, yeah, he's under the costume. He's got those little things on his arms.
Yeah, he's got the little lines on his arm, like the Captain Marvel cuffs. Yeah. The Captain Marvel cuffs.
Yeah, he's got cuffs on his arm.
Okay, that's okay.
Look, if they're bringing back the red underwear, I can live with the cuffs.
Yeah,
I can live with the cuffs.
And you're also going to get part of that is you're going to get a lot of DC books shipping that month, and the months after we'll have variant covers, variant Superman covers. Okay. Kind of like what Marvel's doing with the Avengers, but the Avengers books right now, you'll have Avengers covers for certain books. There'll be that one as well.
It's only fair.
DC used to do theme variant months back during the New 52. Yeah. I remember there was a Scribblenauts month where the variant covers on all the books were Scribblenaut variants for that book. So Flash would be Flash Scribblenauts. They also did
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman covers. They also did Harley Quinn covers. They also did Green Lantern covers.
Yeah.
They also
Neil Adams drew covers.
Robot Chicken covers.
Darwin Cook.
Yeah.
Did a full run of
covers.
Yeah,
Darwin Cook did a great run of variant covers.
His covers are easy.
Romita Jr. did
John Romita Jr. did a couple of variant covers as well. It's something that works. There's a lot of artists out there go, you want to do a Superman cover? Sure.
I don't know why DC doesn't go back to that. They dropped that near the end of New 52. Yeah. They were still doing 2 covers, but they dropped the theme covers. I think 5 or 6 issues before they wrapped up New 52.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they didn't go back to it with Rebirth. I mean, I always liked those. It was a great way to theme up the month.
I think you're at a certain point where you ran into artists that people gave a crap about to do those covers.
Well, unless it's an artist-themed cover, what you're supposed to care about is the subject matter. Like Robot Chicken covers, or the Scribblenauts cover, Alfred E. Newman covers. That's what you're supposed to care about. The artist is secondary, unless you're doing a Neil Adams month or a Dwayne
Darwin Cook
one.
I think the Scribblenauts covers, I think, were not well received, and that might have had something to do with it.
No, they probably not all the covers were hits. Yeah. But the point is, you do them, you go on to the next month, and it's a new set of covers. We'll see what happens.
You can try it.
And they should go back to that.
Hell, you got Oliver Coipel back for working on stuff. Have him do covers. I'd go for a run of Oliver Coipel covers.
I can't wait to see his take on Superman.
Who, Coipel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting story. Since he's no longer exclusive to anyone.
Is he working now at DC?
No, he's working for no one in particular. He has no exclusive contract. He's doing a couple things over at DC. He's also drawing the first Netflix announced Mark Millar book. It's a book about magicians and magic. It's a 6-issue limited series.
Well, DC really ought to pick him up if he's a freelancer.
No, he worked on Legion.
Okay.
And Admit and Lanning were working on Legion, and those stories became not liked by Paul Levitz. And I remember at a con, and they were talking. I was at the DC table, and they were talking about this artist we picked up, and I go, wait a minute. They're talking about Coipel. Coipel left DC. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that was an administration ago.
Oh, yeah, it was
administration and a decade ago.
Yeah.
The world has changed many times over since then.
I think he could probably make more money just basically being a freelancer.
If you've been paying any attention to the DC Racks at all, you know that DC is breaking down all the walls between all of their former creative-owned adult Wildstorm / Vertigo characters like Death and Sandman have shown up in the Metal books.
Yep.
And you've got, of course,
the Terrifics.
Countdown.
Tom Strong and the Terrifics are popping up in the Terrifics.
Well, you've got DC Countdown was Watchmen of the DC Universe, not Countdown.
Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock.
The now delayed Doomsday Clock. Oh no, there's no bi-monthly Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, but that's another barrier that's been broken down. And now, if you read this month's Justice League of America,
yes, to be a Christopher Priest story arc.
There's a surprise guest appearance in the last page, who's going to be, I guess, a regular member for a while.
Yes, for a little bit.
And that's Promethea from ABC Comics, the same folks that were doing Tom Strong.
Yep.
Once upon a time, Promethea's shown up, and my attitude towards that is, well, it's just a matter of time then before we have the Rorschach Scooby-Doo team up.
The only problem with that is the fact that J.H. Williams, they didn't talk to Alan Moore because Alan Moore could give too much of a crap. J.H. Williams co-created Prometheus, and he found out online like everybody else did. He went, the least you could have just told me this. Give me a clue. Give me a heads up. Let me know this. I actually work here. You could tell me something like this.
Well, why didn't they tell him?
He's having a problem with that, and so I'm assuming J.H. Williams will probably go, I don't want to work here anymore.
Well, it depends on how much you get smoothed over. It was pretty stupid not to talk to him about it in the first place, especially if he's working there.
I co-created the book, and I co-created the character, and she's popping up, and you didn't bother to have a courtesy call telling me.
Well, there's two schools of thought of this. The first one is DC owns a character. DC can do whatever they want with the character. And if DC wants to stick, Sandman in metal, or if they want to stick, the Watchmen into the DC universe, or Promethea in the Justice League of America with Lobo, they can do that.
They could. They call them the character. They own the character.
Should they do this is another thing. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Or instead have the common courtesy of talking to the creator first. Give them a heads up.
Yeah, but that's secondary. Should you be doing this stuff in the first place? I mean, I don't know. I'm not real comfortable with Promethea being in the Justice League. That really sort of waters down what the character was.
Yeah, and she doesn't have the same abilities. Because Promethea by herself, if you looked at the Alan Moore, J.H. Williams run, she basically kicked the ass out of anybody in the Justice League.
Well, except of course for Lobo, because he's the meanest bastard on the planet. That's just it. I mean, Promethea was this.
Goddess.
Was this goddess? Well, and technically Wonder Woman is too.
Yeah, too.
But was this high concept character who's now running next to Lobo, who's basically a joke.
Yeah,
character.
And Prometheus stories were political at best.
Yeah.
Because you were expressing the political beliefs of Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Now she's in the Justice League where she apparently has no political beliefs.
I don't know. I would be very wary about this. I mean, if you're going to cross Promethea over, I would do it as an event. I wouldn't just do it as a throwaway thing. I mean, the character was bigger than to just throw her away into Justice League of America.
Doomsday Clock. You put her in Doomsday Clock.
Or
Metal. Or Batman Metal.
Well, Batman Metal actually would probably work better than Justice League.
Fine.
This seems like a real throwaway. Moving over to Marvel, Jim Starlin and Tom Brewport are not getting along together to the point where Jim Starlin, okay, and this is what blows my mind with this, because Jim Starlin, arguably his biggest character at Marvel was Thanos. Thanos is breaking big in about 4 months.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And is going to be everywhere.
Huge.
And the creator of the character, who has been at Marvel right up until now.
Well, no. Not has been at Marvel. There were issues with Marvel. And Starlin before Guardians of the Galaxy came out and Thanos was reintroduced.
Yeah.
They were issues then.
Okay, but they had the creator of this character at the company, and now he's leaving.
He said no. He's not leaving Marvel.
Yeah.
He said he has no problems with Marvel Entertainment. He has an issue with Tom Brevoort. He asked multiple times, "Can I write the monthly Thanos book?" And he went, "No." And so he's going to be doing one more series of graphic novels, and that's it for him and Thanos. The whole thing was he and Alan Davis apparently had the last chapter of this plan they had out of, and the story was here, and he says Brevoort approved it, and then Johnny Cates came up with a story that's similar to that for the regular Thanos book, and Brevoort goes, "I don't remember approving your story. If I did, I don't remember it." And Starlin had an issue with him not remembering it, and so he said, "Okay, you and I have problems. Marvel Entertainment and I are cool, but you and I have a problem with you because I can't trust you because of what you did."
Plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. And so he says, "I wish Marvel well with Thanos. You've been a great big guy, but I won't be writing any more Thanos books." The biggest problem with the Starlin Thanos runs have been those $25 hardcovers. They're being drawn by Ron Lim.
Oh.
You don't put Ron Lim on a $25 hard cover.
No, you put Alan
You actually
Davis
find
on
some
there.
good artists.
Ron Lim's a good artist. Okay,
Ron
Ron Lim is the guy that took over the original Infinity Gauntlet storyline after Starlin dropped it after the first issue. Or was that Perez?
That was Perez.
Okay, after
that
Perez,
was
yeah, that was Perez because
Perez
Perez left
could
to go to DC.
Yeah, he left to get and he was having trouble with deadlines to begin with, and so Ron Lim came in. But Ron Lim has always been a serviceable artist. If Starlin couldn't draw it, I would have had Alan Davis draw it. I would have picked anyone other than Ron Lim.
Well, why isn't Starlin drawing any of those? Is he just too old now?
He doesn't have time to draw stuff.
Well, what's he doing?
He's writing. He's writing and living off money and living off royalties. I'm assuming he's getting some nice royalty checks up at Thanos. You know, so
they're going to get bigger this year.
That's what he said. Hey, me and Marvel Entertainment, we're cool.
They must have sent them a check before the movie's about to come out.
Well, they invited him to the premiere when Thanos was first introduced, and he was having issues with Marvel before that point. Yeah. You know, and so he'll be for opening day for Infinity War. He'll be there, and it'll be interesting. Tom Brevoort will be there as well. How far away are these two going to sit from each other?
Well, you put one in the front, and you sit Starlin in the middle. He gets up when he sees his name at the end of the credits and go, "Okay, I'm done."
Well,
no.
I would assume
parties afterwards.
I would assume Jim Starlin will be sitting with the big boys.
He'll be sitting
at the big boy table.
He will
with entertainment, and Tom Brevoort will be in the kids' seats back with comics.
He'll be with the comic folk.
Okay, our last comic book story is still Marvel. Dan Slott's taking over Iron Man.
Yes, an Iron Man book. He didn't say which one. He's taking over a Iron Man book.
Well, all they're publishing right now is Invincible.
Yeah, which will be starring Tony Stark. And he'll be leaving Amazing Spider-Man with, 801?
801.
Slott said he actually had his last Spider-Man story in mind in 2014, so this was a plan. His idea was, I'm going to be the longest tenured Spider-Man writer ever, and Bendis kept writing. And so Bendis left and he stopped writing. So he goes, okay, so when 801 ships, he will be the man who's written more Spider-Man stories than anyone in Marvel.
Even Stan Lee?
Even Stan Lee.
Because, I've read the comics and they say Stan Lee presents across the top, so he's like written every Spider-Man story ever. Going all the way back.
Presents does not count.
He goes all the way back. He's written every Spider-Man story ever.
He presents. It does not count. Yes. Bendis' last Iron Man book ships in May, and Slott's last Spider-Man book ships in June.
Right after.
And Slott will take over Iron Man, which I'm assuming will be called Invincible Iron Man.
Yeah, probably.
In July or June.
Any idea what he wants to do?
He's been kind of quiet about that, and Marvel doesn't want to give everybody an idea of what he's planning right now. But the fact that they made the announcement, and the announcement was made on Vulture. It wasn't made by Marvel. Vulture basically got an interview with him. He said, yeah, this is what I was planning on doing, and I want to be the longest tenured writer, and I'm starting with 801. And that was like, oh, by the way, I'm taking over Iron Man.
He actually has done his homework on the character because, funny enough, this guy even knew the Iron Man theme song from the cartoon. He actually said
everybody knows that.
Not everybody.
No, not everyone knows that.
Tony Stark makes me feel he's exactly where the heart is.
Blu-ray.
Those things aren't out of Blu-ray as far as I know.
Blu-ray? Oh, God.
As far as I know, they're not out of Blu-ray.
I bet you somebody's got this video is. And Slott does a lot of homework.
Now, just to remind everybody, taking over Amazing Spider-Man from Slott will be
Nick Spencer and Ryan Otley, who used to draw Invincible. Otley will be the first artist.
Who is free now.
Who is free now because Invincible's over with. And apparently Otley will be doing one arc, and every arc will have a brand new big-name artist.
Oh, really? On Spider-Man?
On Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay, that's it for Comic Book News. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk wrestling. Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Most people don't know this, but I got my start in comics retail on February 20th, 1978, when I became the store manager of the Comic Book Emporium. 16 years later, I opened Alternate Reality on August 20th, 1994. Like Superman's penchant for double L's, it seems the 20th has always been an important part of my life. I respect that heritage, which is why we have a Founders Day sale on the 20th of each month here at the store. Every 20th, stop by and you'll save 20% off all of your purchases all day long, only at Alternate Reality. And we're back. Bo?
Yes?
What the hell happened with Enzo Amore this week?
Enzo had probably the worst.
Let me preface this. This has been order week for me.
Yeah.
So you've
been working on the order and not paying attention to the news.
I have been submerged up to my neck in the order, and I haven't paid a lot of attention to what's going on. Although I did hear Enzo got fired this week. I heard that much, and I heard it had something to do with being improper with a woman.
Yes.
On some level or way, shape, or form. Supposedly. Allegedly. What's the deal?
Apparently in October, Enzo, this girl, and two other friends. First off, She broke the story on Twitter on Monday. It's not you don't break stories on Twitter, unless you.
She broke the story that happened in October.
She broke the story that happened in October on Twitter. So this happened in October. She basically made this known on Twitter that Enzo and two other friends, they were in a hotel room. She doesn't explain how they got from where they were to the hotel room, and she says that the two friends left. And
then they were playing D&D, right?
And then Enzo apparently forced himself on her because she was too incapacitated to defend herself, and she kept saying no.
So she's accusing him of date raping.
She's accusing him of date raping her. She said that he ripped her tights and he had sex with her, and she kept telling him no, and he kept going it, and he said something in his line. She says, I've got like 1 million followers on Instagram. You should be grateful to get this. Yeah. Which I'm like, okay, that sounds like BS.
What are you talking about? It sounds like Enzo.
Yeah, but he doesn't have 1 million followers on Instagram.
Well, but it still sounds like him.
So she said she hit her head. She passed out. She woke up. He was still doing it, and he was still there in the hotel room that morning. They don't explain how they left the hotel room, whether he left or she left. She went to the hospital. She said she was confined to a psychiatric hospital for 45 days.
Why?
Because she was having a hard time dealing with the entire issue.
So that's why this isn't breaking until now? Because she's been in a psychiatric hospital for 45 days?
Well, apparently this happened on October the 19th, and the police report was filed on October the 24th. And she kept this ridiculously quiet until Monday.
Well, that would have kept, if she was in the psychiatric hospital for 45 days, it would have brought her up to the end of the year.
It would have brought her up to the middle of December, but the story broke, was it the 22nd of January? The story broke. It popped up on social media. She posted herself as anonymous. Her name was revealed the next day. The story came up. Enzo was at Raw 25. They had stuff for him to do. He was held off the show. They announced he was suspended. Tuesday, he was fired. We give him best endeavors because what he did is something that we can't tolerate. Now, his lawyers have said he's fully cooperating with the Phoenix police. He says it didn't happen, and he's going to fight this tooth and nail, and the cops are continually investigating this. There are parts of the story which seem amazingly fishy. It could just be a date gone wrong, or it could be something that was invented. We don't know, because the only people who know are her and Enzo.
Question I have is, why isn't the WWE backing this guy up? Why don't they have Enzo's back? Why aren't they there supporting him in every possible... I'm baiting this for you.
Yes,
in every possible way.
That's why I'm preparing the response.
In every possible way they can, because this man is such a valued member of the WWE family.
Because even though Enzo moves merchandise and has people watching 205 Live, he's a pain in the ass!
Allegedly a pain in the ass.
Oh, no, it's not alleged. It's quite proven. He's a pain in the ass. Nobody in the locker room likes him, even including Corey Graves, who can't stand him. He walks around acting like he's the most important guy in the room. He never shuts up.
He also got kicked off of the bus.
He got kicked. Roman Reigns threw his ass off the bus
in the middle of the expressway.
In the middle of the expressway, he had to walk to the arena and dress in the janitor's closet. He has no friends except for Big Cass, and Cass is on the shelf, so he's not around. And so everyone looks at Enzo and go, we just don't like you. Neville's gone because he didn't like Enzo, and he goes, why are you pushing this clown who's not a very good wrestler, and I can out wrestle him every day of the week and twice on Sunday?
But unfortunately, Enzo was one of the best mic guys they had.
And that's what saved him. He was great on the microphone, and he sold merchandise. But at a certain point, you go, I don't give a crap about all that stuff. I don't need a guy accused from rape to be on the roster. It makes us look bad. And what else happened this week?
Raw 25.
Raw 25, so it means everyone was paying attention to Raw 25. Yeah. And then on Thursday, Vince announced the return of the XFL. This is not the week to be dealing with, when do you guys rape someone?
Rape someone. And right at the height of the Me Too movement.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That is the saddest story I've ever heard. You know what gets me about that story?
Well,
it sounds exactly like the bit they had with him and Lana back in August.
Going to the hotel room and getting beat up. Yeah, going to the hotel room and getting beat up. And so I haven't looked at the website today. I don't know, but I'm assuming Enzo material is probably discounted to almost nowhere levels to get rid of it.
I can get some more soft T-shirts.
You can get as much Enzo stuff as you want now.
So
I don't care whether they get rid of him or not. I like that soft T-shirt.
I know, but he was like the second biggest shirt seller up there.
Yes, he was.
And Enzo goes from owning a couple of strip clubs.
Yes.
Then he goes to...
He owns strip
clubs. He owns strip clubs. He got met at strip clubs. Somebody said, why don't you try wrestling? And he went into developmental. He went to NXT. He turned into it. He and Big Cuss basically were very popular, ridiculously popular. They came up the main roster.
Time out. The man owns strip clubs. Why the hell does he want to do anything else?
Because he wanted to make more money.
He wanted more money.
What, you don't make enough money off of strip clubs?
And that's one of the things that got him in trouble. The first time he got him in trouble, he was bringing strippers in the locker room after shows, and they were walking around taking pictures.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
that's a violation of all protocols that there are. You don't bring people in the locker room.
In there either.
No, you don't take pictures of anyone in the locker room. That's not allowed.
And because Triple H and Stephanie, you can basically say they're running the company now. They basically said we're going to make this a PG. You know that.
Move along.
It's going to be we're making WWE PG. We got families out there. We can make more money than basically the attitude.
Sponsors being PG, you can being extreme.
Well, WWE has always been PG except for the Attitude Era because they had to because of WCW.
To get people watching.
But pre-Attitude Era, they're PG. And once they beat WCW, they went back to being PG. Okay, they've always tried to be
family friendly.
To use someone else's phraseology, quote unquote, family friendly. Because Vince has always been smart enough to know blood, while that might be the stock and trade of hardcore wrestling, that is not the stock and trade of Disney.
No.
And Vince wants to be Disney.
And that is why John Cena will never be able to go heel again, because he does too many charity things.
Well, I don't see him becoming a heel in the first place. I see him dropping matches like he did Monday, but I don't see them doing
does
it.
He's making people, because he knows his wrestling career is coming to an end.
Well, it's been coming to an end for a while. He's been scaling way back over the last 2 years.
He's working too much. He's doing too many movies.
Yeah. You mentioned Raw 25. Speaking of Raw 25, give me your capsule review of it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but like I said, I've been submerged with the invoice all week, so I haven't actually sat down and watched all of it.
To be honest, I did not watch Raw 25. I know what happened on Raw 25.
Okay.
I have it on my DVR, but I don't have 2.5 hours to run through this thing.
And I saw.
Although I heard that quits of the show were quite impressive.
The old guys that they brought back were okay.
Jericho came back just for one bit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I did see that bit. I haven't watched it all the way through, but I've run it here at the store because I run Hulu here at the store. So one of my first thing I do on Wednesday morning is I run Raw and SmackDown but I usually don't get a chance to watch it because I'm busy running the store. So it's running in the background. So I did see the Jericho bit, but I haven't watched it all the way through and taken it all in. And besides, the Hulu thing's all chopped up anyway.
Yeah,
they take a 3-hour show and make an hour and a half.
You get a 3 hour, 3 hour and 20 minutes. That's why when I do my DVR, I go a half hour later because I'm like, this show would end, and I'm like, there's like 10 minutes left. So I'll just go after a half hour so you can see the whole thing.
Well, from what I saw on the show, they are really pushing the women's division. Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to get to the point where they want, I believe Triple H even said he can actually envision WrestleMania, a women's match as the headliner.
It could happen.
I've been saying for a while they have more than enough women to make their own division, to make their own brand, to make their own show. Yeah. Why they haven't done it yet, I'm not sure. They've got the talent, and I'm sure, especially considering like something like 205 Live, it just exists for the internet.
Yeah.
Make the women's show just exist for the internet and do that. One of the things the women's division needs is more belts for more storylines. Well, they have one belt and all the story.
Sasha Banks said, "Why don't we have a women's tag team belt?"
All the storylines revolve around that one belt, and after a while, you run out of stuff to do. And that's the problem they've got with the women's division right now. Is there's a lack of ideas because there's a lack of belts and a lack of storylines around the belts.
God save Fit really. He's still back there booking the women's matches. And you're gonna get all this probably changed when a certain UFC person actually signs her contract.
She won't be at.
She won't be at the Royal Rumble because she's off shooting a movie. I think it's a comic book movie. Yeah. So she said, "I won't be at the Royal Rumble, but Stephanie and I, and Triple H, we had a dinner and we're talking, but nothing's official." But you could see that.
That means it's official. They're not ready to go forward.
She's been coming to the WWE for the last 4 years.
She's been getting trained by Brian Kendrick 3 or 4 days at the Performance Center. You wouldn't be spending all your time at Full Sail University if you weren't planning on coming in. And her husband probably will come in as well because he's also a big wrestling.
Who's your husband?
I forget his name. But he's another UFC guy.
Okay. Last wrestling story, you've already mentioned this, but now flesh it out.
It's official. The XFL's coming back, baby!
Why in God's name is Vince bringing the XFL back?
Because Vince has always had a hard-on about football, and so he decided to bring it back. 2020. You got to wait till 2020.
How much money did he flush down the toilet the first time, and how much is he going to flush down this time?
Apparently, from what I heard, the numbers. No, I heard the NBC lost most of the money.
Yeah, well,
$700 million.
Yeah, well, NBC you could bet on NBC not picking it up again.
Well, because he made the announcement Thursday at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, right.
It'll pop up in 2020. He put in $100 million worth of money he got by selling stock. There is no network that's running this one now. It's not running on the WWE network because they are completely and totally separate companies, and so the programming cannot run on the network in any way, shape, or form. Which means Vince is gonna be. He says, "I can do both shows." No, Vince, you're 70 years old. You're not going to be able to run both shows.
And he looked exactly his 70-year-old on Raw.
Yeah,
he did look.
He's a 70-year-old man. Was it 10 teams? They haven't picked the cities for these teams yet. They got a playoff plan laid out.
I think it's
no halftime, less commercials.
Each team is going to get, as they win throughout the so-called shortened league, the time that they play, there's more money to win.
There's a cash money bonus. There are also limitations on the players, which basically means you're going to be getting beer level guys.
That's what they had the first time.
Well, no arrest records at all. Not even a DUI. Name me a college football player that has not had a DUI that you're going to sign.
Mayfield.
No. Anybody who's going to go through this year's NFL draft or the NFL draft next year, none of those guys are capable. What you're going to get is guys who basically were involved in practice squads, a lot of guys who couldn't make it into pros. People are saying names like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow will not be playing football in 2020. Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, Kaepernick's going to waste his time playing for a network for a show.
That was you want to hear a crazy rumor.
Johnny Manziel! Johnny Manziel said, I'm like, Johnny, you're drunk. That means you're already disqualified. You've been busted for DUI, which means you can't play.
No, another name I heard being tossed around was T.O. for some reason.
Jerry Rice also said he would come back for the Raiders, and I'm like, you're 55 years old, Jerry. You'll break a damn thing. Get out of here. It's going to be beer league football. It's basically, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be arena league football without being in the arenas, with being outside.
So it's going to be Canadian football.
It's going to be Canadian football.
You know what? I thought this was just another billionaire who basically didn't have anything to do with his money, but I got to give Vince credit. He got the money to live out whatever he wants to do, and you got to give the man credit for it.
And you know what's really interesting about this? You won't see Vince on TV at all in this new XFL. He will not be the face of the league. They're actually going to hire football executives, and they're going to run it like a business, and Vince will not be part of programming, and you will never see any WWE wrestlers on TV.
I don't buy that for a minute. Not Vince not being the face of that thing or not being involved in it. It's
involved, yes. On TV, no.
Probably giving away the trophy for
he'll give away the trophy.
The championship.
I remember the very first XFL. That first XFL game. Wow. We watched that over at my place. Vince came out at the very top of the show. Yeah, and he did the whole thing.
Fireworks and all that other
crap. And he was out again at the end of I think the first episode, the first game.
So I'm assuming this league will be composed of has-beens and never-was.
Well, don't forget.
So it'll be like the Chicago White Sox for most of their career.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget that was about 2 or 3 guys from the XFL that went over to the NFL.
A couple guys did, but how many? How many?
I think Ross Smart was one.
There were about 12. Well, how many teams were there? 8, 9. I got the T-shirt at home. I bought the T-shirt. I got some XFL stuff at home. I bought.
Oh my God, this is like
I got the T-shirt. I got the hat. I got a couple of shirts. I think it was like 10 teams. So I had 10 teams. Oh yeah, 40-man rosters for the new team. So you had like 25 to 30 to 40 players. Okay, so you're talking maybe 200 or 300 players. Of the 200 or 300, how many actually made it to the pros after that? 3. These are beer league guys.
Did he hate me make it?
Actually, he hated me.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
got an NFL career, and people went, "Hey, he hate me." He went,
"Yes,
I was."
That was the funniest thing. He's walking over there, and I believe it was Carson Daly that was interviewing. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You see that guy in the crowd right there? What about him? He hate me." I fell laughing. I said, "You got to be kidding me! This supposed to be football."
Yeah,
hey JR, look, his name's He Hate Me.
There'll be no. Yeah, well, that was the other problem. You had Jerry Lawler come in call those XFL games. Jerry's a good announcer, but he couldn't call football.
Well, Jerry Lawler and
Jim Ross could, however, Jim Ross could cover anything.
Yeah,
but yeah, Lawler was like, you had a couple of guys. Matt Bersergian, who works for a couple of sports networks, he was one of the announcers. And the bigger resurgence is that ESPN thing, the documentary. The documentary went over quite well.
They said that was the whole tempest for bringing it back.
Yeah.
And people going, "Oh, when you bring back XFL?" I don't know. Wait a minute. You like XFL? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Fine. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm assuming this thing will run on USA because they're kind of stuck with it. I can't think of anybody else running it, or ESPN if they're really.
And it's supposed to now, according to him,
well,
in 2020,
this isn't going to go head to head against NFL.
This is supposed to be after the Super Bowl.
The first game will start a week or two after the Super Bowl's over with. So this will be a 10-game season. post Super Bowl, so people are still going, there's no football till October. Well, now you got 3 months of football. Whether people will watch it, of course, is the question.
Okay, well, here's the thing: they're running into baseball season then.
Well, you're running it. No. Actually, if you go in 10 games, by the time you get done, you're getting spring training is started at that point because pitchers and catchers don't pop up until like the middle of February. So by the time they don't start running preseason baseball games until like early March. So you've got 2 months. So all you're really competing against is football. I mean, is hockey. And basketball with their interminable playoff season.
You know what, I'm strangely enough pulling for this to work because if it's an epic disaster, because
why?
What?
It's going to be another epic fail. This one year. I'm betting you right now this thing's going to go one year and that's going to be it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why. Because everything has been flipped on this axis now. Just think we have a president. We basically said point blank, this guy's never going to win presidency. He's not going to win a presidency. What happened? He's the president of the United States. When people sit up there and doubt that, and somehow or another that X Factor comes in and totally wipes it out, and that's Vince McMahon in XFL second season. What? Second season?
It'll be the same thing as when the XFL popped up. People watched the first couple games. They got to about the 4th or 5th game. They didn't give a crap.
Well, look, you saw what was the rules? No fair catches. And 2 guys have to run towards the.
Well, he said this version is going to be gimmick free. He also said the players will be mandated to stand for the national anthem.
Oh, Christ!
And they can express no political views whatsoever. So I'm like, what? You have a team full of robots?
I did hear that. He said we're here because we're here to play football.
So basically, it's going to be baseball in 1955.
Yeah, it's going to be 1955 baseball. They'll be wearing wool uniforms.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for wrestling news. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hit media news. You know, folks, there really is no other store that has as many sales as Alternate Reality. Beyond our signature sale of 15% off all new comics, we also have specialized sales peppered throughout the week, month, and year. For example, did you know that every Thursday is Ladies' Day at the store? That's right, ladies. Stop by the store and you'll save 20% off all of your purchases all day long. Ladies from 8 to 80 get a 20% discount on everything all day, every Thursday, only at Alternate Reality. Welcome back, folks. We're in Hollywood again, and we're here with media news. Bo?
Yes?
Bryan Singer's been tossed off not just Gifted, but Legion as well.
Yes, he's no
What happened with that?
Bryan Singer was directing...
He's the idiot savant of the X-Men over at Fox.
Well, yeah, he was. But Bryan Singer was doing a film based on the life of former Queen singer Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Starring Rami Zahn from Robot. What is it? Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot.
Yeah, and apparently there was some kind of issue, and he and Zahn kind of got into a fist fight.
Wait a minute. He's directing this thing?
He was directing it.
And Zahn is his star.
Zahn was starring as Freddie Mercury.
So he
looked a lot like Freddie Mercury.
So he gets into a fist fight with his star.
Yeah. And production stops for a little while. And,
really?
Yeah, a little bit. So they could smooth things over. And then when it was smoothed over, he was no longer directing the film, and his Bad Henry production company was moved off the 20th lot.
Oh, wow.
So he is now a free agent. Now, his excuse was he was having issues with his mother and father, and Fox wasn't very understanding about the fact he was having issues dealing with his mother and father who were going through some kind of health crisis. So they didn't understand it, but he said he didn't have a problem with them happening, him doing what they did. His actual influence on both of those shows, he's just a name in the credits. Legion's basically run by Noah Hawley, who writes most of the episodes, and Matt Nix from Burn Notice is the guy doing most of the work on The Gifted, and also Len Wiseman, who came in as the show got picked up as a producer. They've been doing all the heavy lifting, so all you're really doing is you're just removing his name from the credit.
Well, if he's no longer associated with Fox and the X-Men franchise, this would be a perfect opportunity for Warner's to pick him up. And based on his pedigree of doing that wonderful
Superman film,
Superman Reborn, Returns, or whatever the hell it was, he could take over the DC Comics franchise and totally run it into the ground and bury it and burn it. Leave nothing behind. After Zack Snyder's done what he did to it, then Bryan Singer can come along and put the finishing touches on it.
When you mentioned Bryan Singer's name on movies and stuff, everything, people start going, "Oh God, really?" I've heard that several times.
Really? You know what my favorite Bryan Singer picture is of all time, and you'll remember this one as soon as I tell you it. It's Bryan Singer from the very first X-Men film, and he's doing one of these. He's making a widescreen for folks at home who can't see this. He's making a widescreen square out of his hands, and he's looking through it at Magneto's helmet sitting on a table.
Yeah, I remember that photo.
And I looked at it, and the first thing I thought of was, God, what a pretentious ass.
He's an auteur.
What a pretentious ass. My God. I bet Spielberg does that with every shot.
Oh, man.
He's an auteur.
That's another word for jerk.
I hear that Amazon,
Yes.
as in Amazon.com,
Yes.
is doing The Boys.
Yes.
Garth Ennis's The Boys.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Seth Rogen and his buddy Evan Goldberg, the guys who are doing Preacher.
Oh, so after Preacher, they're going to move over to The Boys. They're going to do all of Garth Ennis's stuff?
They've also got some superhero parody thing they're doing, which it doesn't have a network.
Oh,
at this
Green
point.
Hornet 2?
Yeah.
No.
As soon as you said Seth Rogen, that's exactly what I thought of.
Not Green Hornet 2, but it doesn't have a name. But yes, The Boys is being done on Amazon. So if you got Amazon Prime, you'll be able to watch it. It stars, one of the stars is Erin Moriarty, who is Trish Talk from Jessica Jones.
Now, how much are they going to lock this thing down? Or how much are they not going to lock this thing down? Because Boys is pretty freewheeling.
It's an Amazon Studios, Amazon Prime show, which means they can go any route they want to go.
I remember many issues of the book where you would have the superheroes of that universe, and they weren't exactly living up to the highest standards of 1950s superhero.
It was a Garth Ennis book,
behavior.
of course.
Being an Amazon Prime show, they can go any direction they want to go. There are no
something
limitations.
about raping people in bathrooms, as I remember,
Yeah.
during award ceremonies.
No limitation.
Captain Wonderful, I'd like to present you with this award. I'll have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And then he rapes Jimmy Olsen in the bathroom.
No.
Well, welcome to the world of The Boys, folks.
No limitation. None.
When is it supposed to get off the ground? Or are they just in the talking stage?
They haven't started shooting it. They hired all the actors. Actually, you got the list of the actors that are in this thing now. So we already mentioned Erin Moriarty from Jessica Jones. You've got Erin Moriarty, Anthony Starr, Dominique McElliott, who's an Irish actress, Chase Crawford, Jessie T. Usher, Usher, and Nathan Mitchell. So the show will have female actresses. It'll
Chase Crawford.
Irish actors. He was from what was he on? It's not the guy from Lethal Weapon. That's the first thing I thought. That's Shane Crawford. Okay. And Usher, who's actually just Jessie T. Usher. So it'll have Irish people. It'll have white females. It'll have black characters.
So
both ethnic.
I forget the actor's name, but the guy who plays Scotty in the new Star Trek films. He's not going to be in this thing because they drew him in every damn issue.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he won't. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he won't be in every. Although, yeah, Scotty was wee Hughie. He won't be in it, as far as we know.
Okay, and our last media story is apparently Brie Larson's Captain Marvel costume has been revealed.
Well, a costume has been revealed.
A costume.
It's green and white.
Now, I saw a costume that looked blue. All blue.
There might be a blue one, but actually there've been two pictures of one wearing a green costume and one wearing a blue costume. So, but I think the green was what you start with. And people go, it's green. And I go, hi. When Captain Marvel was first introduced, it was green and white.
Yeah, that was his first uniform, green and white.
With a big fin on his head.
Yeah, that's actually harkening back to. And you know what he had, which when I was
Negabands.
When I was before Negabands.
Oh, no.
When I was a little shaver, when he was in the green and white costume,
I remember the cover.
he would have this big belt on.
Yes,
that was a levitation belt.
Yeah,
that he flew with.
They let him fly.
It didn't look like a big donut around his waist.
No.
It was flattened. Yeah. But it was like a levitation belt, which I always thought was really cool.
That cover was quite cool.
Yeah.
He was flying toward you. Look, it's Captain Marvel.
Was it Colin who did that cover?
It might have been Gene Colan.
I think Gene Colan did the first work on the character.
I think Roy Thomas wrote it, didn't he?
I wouldn't be at all surprised if Stan Lee didn't do that first appearance.
Stan probably
first appearance in Marvel Superheroes.
Yeah, he probably did the first
there.
issue, and then Roy Thomas I think did it after that.
Yeah,
and I always thought those stories were kind of cool. Captain Marvel, Captain Marvel, Jan Rog, and all these goofy ass names.
And Carol Danvers.
Not binary.
No, not the Carol Danvers we all know.
No.
But the one who sort of sounds like her.
Yeah, who sounds like Carol Danvers. And apparently, we already know Sam Jackson's in this thing. We already know this film's a period piece. And there are rumors that, not Linda Carter, who was the actress who played Captain Marvel's girlfriend in Agent Carter?
Oh.
The British actress.
Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell's in it. Her. She's in it. And this takes place in the 70s or 80s.
I was going to say, Sam Jackson's playing Nick Fury then, right?
He's playing Nick Fury with both of his eyes.
So he's back?
He's back. No, technically he has both of his eyes.
So basically this is saying...
This is pre
getting his eye lost.
Yeah, pre-eye loss. And there's also some rumor that she's going to be popping up in Avengers 4.
Well, that's like Guardians of the Galaxy. This takes place in the 70s.
Yeah. Takes place back then. Yeah,
so in other words, by it being a period piece, that means they're gonna go with the fact that she got her powers from a Kree spaceship. Then,
yeah, you're not going to see her getting her powers from the X-Men. She's not getting her powers from Rogue. It's not going to happen.
Oh.
Well, if they really wanted to wait till like June, yeah, you could do that. But you can't do that. But she looks pretty good.
But
people are whining about it. People are whining. I'm like, shut up. She's wearing the damn costume. Shut up.
I'll tell you why. Because they actually put on the red outfit and stuff.
That's going to pop up.
And then they go, okay, well, we're waiting for the red outfit. Then you go, the green go, where's the green?
She didn't get the red outfit till recently.
Why did they give her the 70s outfit?
Because the show's...
Well, it's Ms. Marvel.
It's Ms. Marvel. You can't do Ms. Marvel. And then you also... Some idiot online posted, she doesn't have an ass. Really? You're looking at her ass? Really? That's your entire take from this? Her ass isn't big enough for the costume? Are you serious?
Well... It is a consideration.
Have you seen Brie Larson? She's not exactly a exotic woman.
It is a consideration.
She's a small woman.
Well, there's padding. There's special effects.
Oh, you can't pad a woman's butt. You can't pad a woman's
I'm quite sure if Schumacher was Joel Schumacher directed this, she would have had a padded ass.
Oh, boy.
But he's not.
You brought up Schumacher.
And that's it for media news. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Rorschach Test. Good grades deserve a reward, and at Alternate Reality, we make that an actuality. If you're a grade schooler in the Chicagoland area and you get a report card, then you're eligible to join our Good Grades Club. Each A gets you a 2% discount, and each B a 1% discount, up to a possible total of 25% off based on your grades for this marking period. Just bring in your current report card, and we'll issue you a Good Grades Club card, and every time you make a purchase, that's the discount you'll get. So stop by the store and get the discount you deserve for your good grades. And we're back. Bo?
Yes?
Rod?
Yes?
I'm going to give you each a word. This is a word you know,
word?
although this will ruffle some leaves in the back of your head, but you know this word. I'm going to
bring you back into the universe.
I'm going to give you a word, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear this word. And Bo, I'm going with you first this time. Okay. Rod, keep in your head. First thing you think of. And the word is the McDLT.
Keeps the hot side hot, the cold side cold.
Oh, my God.
You know, actually,
yes.
Of all the McDonald's burgers that they came up with, that was the best one they'd ever come up with. You had that container, which had to keep the two parts separate because you couldn't put them together because, I have to keep the hot side hot and the cold side cold. And so you had this big goofy Rube Goldberg's plastic container or styrofoam container. And you would open it up, because it had a top. You would take the top off, and you would have to assemble your burger.
Yes. Well, that was the, again, to borrow someone else's nomenclature. The quote unquote the genius of the McDLT was it kept the hot side hot, which was the burger sitting on the bottom part of the bun, while on the other side was the top burger, the top of the bun, with the lettuce, with the tomato, with the cheese, with the mayonnaise, with the pickle, with the whatever else. And so you would scoop up the one side, slap it on the other side, and bam! You got yourself a quarter pounder that doesn't look like it's been pressed within an inch of its life.
Didn't you have a wing at one point where you could basically just fold it yourself?
Yeah, I used to work it.
Yeah.
I know.
My thing is wouldn't you want the cheese to be warm?
No, that's what you have. That's what you have with a quarter pounder. When they assemble a quarter pounder, it's all slammed together. Yeah. Once you get the thing out and in your hands, it's all sort of smashed together. Not that they smashed it together when they made it. It just sort of deflates on itself.
Well, but my thing is, when I fry burgers at home, I put the cheese on top of the burger so that it melts on top of the burger. I don't want it separate.
That's what you're supposed
to
do.
I want it to melt on the burger. Well, no. I know. But that was one of the...
Well, McDonald's is not the place where you have it your way.
No, you're not getting a slopper. No.
So did the hot side stay hot and the cold side?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. That was probably one of the last great burger creations they had for quite a while.
Oh, it wasn't really a creation. You split a hamburger in half and you stick it in two separate boxes. It's essentially what it was.
It was marketed as this big...
Well, yeah, it was marketed as big genius.
Oh, my God. I remember that commercial.
You know, that's like selling you a fry, one fry at a time, and calling it genius. But they're only 2 cents each.
Yeah, you remember
that's like, oh, it's a genius idea.
You remember the big dip?
I want 22 fries, not 23, not 21, 22. Okay, Rodney, we'll move over to you. McDLT.
Thank you very much, Tim, for reminding me why I don't eat McDonald's anymore. That's one of the reasons why. I remember that darn commercial. And they had some of the kids. And now because we're in the 21st century and you can't have styrofoam no more, I remember the big ass thing over there. You put the burger on there and flip it over there. I used to work at McDonald's.
Well, for those of you who are, we'll get that in a second, but for those of you who might be millennials, and who've never seen a McDLT, the styrofoam they packed in, I'm going to get to this in a minute because that's actually an important part of the McDLT history. But the styrofoam they packed it in was the size of a boat.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
This was not a little thing. This thing was about a foot long.
Yes.
No, a foot and a quarter long.
Because you had the size of the burger and you had the size of the top of the bun, and so it had to have a little separation so that you could pick it up and walk it to your table.
Yeah, think about a good sized hamburger next to another good sized hamburger, but then given about 2 inches to 3 inches with a separation in between. Okay, plus a rim around the outside of it. That's how big this thing was. It was at least a foot big.
Yeah, it had a top. And the top said on the top of it, McDLT. And it was on both ends of the top.
Yes, and on top of it, the bags were bigger, too.
Okay, you were saying you worked at McDonald's.
Yes, I worked at McDonald's, and I remember we were stocking those styrofoams up there, and I just kept looking at it going, what a waste of money this is. But McDonald's at the time was basically, they were the #1 hamburger company.
If you went to get a burger at that point, you went to McDonald's. You kind of went to Burger King if you had to. But you really went to McDonald's.
I know.
And McDonald's pumped that family-friendly stuff into your head. So that's where you went.
Because of the Happy Meal.
Because of the Happy Meal.
And then they came in with this bright idea, well, people have been complaining about the burgers. Okay, well, what if we leave one side hot and one side cold? And that was the DLT. So you flip it over, you go... Pull the top off. There's your meat. There's your bun right there. You flip it over. Cold cheese. Okay.
Actual lettuce.
Actual lettuce.
Actual tomato.
Cut tomatoes.
And then you were supposed to sit up there, and I literally saw people taking the styrofoam, doing like that, and smacking it on their guy. That's what I did, huh?
That was the easiest thing to do.
As I've already mentioned once or twice, go out and get yourself a quarter pounder. That is not what the McDLT looked like.
No.
Even if you were able to. If you were able to cut the two parts apart and flip them over so that both sides were facing up, it still did not look like the McDLT. It didn't look the
same at all.
No.
McDLT had a unique look, and that's what sold it.
Yeah, it actually looked like a hamburger.
Yeah.
Which the quarter pounder, which was the Queen Mary of the McDonald's line up to that point, did not look like that at all. Now, here's the other thing about the McDLT, which I remember from back when, because this was the first time they started rumbling about this. The first time they started to make us think about this. The styrofoam that we talked about, that was the first time that people started to say, you know what? Why do we have all this packaging for a hamburger? And where is this packaging going? Because all you have to do is sit in a McDonald's quote-unquote restaurant. Yes, well, they're restaurants. Yeah, well, that's what they call themselves. You sit in a McDonald's quote-unquote restaurant, and you watch all of these foot-long hunks of styrofoam, 2 of them, top and a bottom, going into the garbage can.
Yes.
And that's when people first started saying, where is all this crap going? And, of course, it's going into a landfill somewhere. And
or Lake Michigan.
And since it's styrofoam, it's not breaking down any time in anyone's descendants' lifetime. It's still going to be around. And that was when McDonald's started taking a lot of heat, and Burger King and the rest of the fast food places, about how much crap are you guys dumping into landfills for fast food, which is when they started to think about, well, maybe we should be putting this stuff in paper instead of styrofoam or cardboard even.
I mean, you have to...
And that's when the whole packaging thing started. Because of the McDLT.
Yes.
This is what you have to imagine, okay? In another life, I was an Annie Fran Usher. Across the street from Wrigley Field was a McDonald's. We would all go to lunch together. So you had about 60 people at McDonald's at the same time. We literally took that McDonald's over for lunch breaks. You talk about 60 people and 60 pieces of garbage.
Yeah. Well, 60 pieces of those big hunking chunks of styrofoam.
Right. And you had the little dumpsters in the back.
Oh,
all that stuff went into the dumpsters, and then it went where? It went into the landfill.
Well, back then, McDonald's was selling all of their quote unquote sandwiches
in styrofoam.
They're not hamburgers. No. They're hamburger sandwiches.
Hamburger sandwiches.
Well, they all came in styrofoam. If you got a Big Mac, you got a little styrofoam box that would pop open.
Beige
that was
styrofoam,
like brown.
Yeah,
it was
beige.
like brown.
Yes,
beige. And your thing was inside there.
Yeah.
Today you buy one and it's wrapped up in paper,
Right.
which you throw out and you assume decomposes a hell of a lot faster than styrofoam.
Well, you put it in your recycling bin.
Yeah, everything that they made came in some sort of styrofoam container, and
except French fries.
But because of that, because the McDLT was such an obvious insult to the ecosystem,
it was an ocean liner with food in it.
Yes. That's when people started. Wait a minute. That's when people started looking at it and say, "Wait a minute." And the Quarter Pounder is in one of those, and the Big Mac is in one of those.
The Big Mac was in a big
one.
And every hamburger was in those things.
In one of those things, and those are all going in the garbage, which are all going in landfill. And those things are going to break down in 10,000 years.
Yeah.
But I say one thing about those.
Why are you killing the planet?
One good thing about those styrofoams is it kept the burgers warm.
It sure did, because
I mean, for all the bad things about the styrofoam, the best thing about it is it kept the burgers warm. After that, they said, you know what? We're putting a hole in ozone there. It's the styrofoam. Get rid of it.
Well, that too, and the whole manufacture of styrofoam in the first place, is not exactly eco-friendly either.
No, it's not.
Making it isn't eco-friendly, and it being around for 10,000 years isn't exactly eco-friendly either.
Yeah, that's why you're not buying coffee in styrofoam cups. So they go, the heat really dissolves the styrofoam, so you're drinking styrofoam.
Well, that's always been a thing with me. When I first read that when you drink hot coffee, you're drinking styrene, which causes cancer in rats.
It comes inside.
It's like, okay, well, I don't want any styrofoam cups anymore.
Do you have any paper cups, please?
So in other words, you're saying I could go to a landfill, dig it up after an hour, so I could probably find a couple of McDLT boxes.
Oh, I can guarantee you.
I'll be willing to bet if you went to a landfill, you dig it up, you'd probably find some leftover Twinkies.
Okay, that's it. We're done with Fisher out of here. We got no more time for any news today.
We got no more time for crime.
Be sure to go to the store's website, myalternatereality.com, where you can check out all of Bo's news, which he sends me occasionally.
I sent him some today.
Yeah, well, that's great. I posted today, and I think I used 3 stories out of 12 that were yours. The rest of them I posted. But go to the store's website, where you'll find news stories updated by somebody just about every single day, along with JR's reviews. So be sure to stop at the store's website for all of that, plus shipping, plus everything else. Bo.
Yes?
Thank you for coming by today.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Rod.
Yes.
Thank you for coming by today.
Stay away from McDonald's.
And until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And Bo saying, where the hell are those space treats today?
Oh, boy.
Say goodbye, Rod.
Goodbye. Stay away from it.
Bye! Thanks a lot for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please like and share it with all your friends. We value your feedback, so drop us a question, comment, show idea, or complaint either at aircomics@msn.com or, if provided, in the comments section down below on this platform. The opinions expressed in this episode are solely those of the individuals and not necessarily those of Alternate Reality Incorporated. This show is, as always, coming to you from the Alternate Reality Comic Shop, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie, serving Chicago comics fandom since 1994.